So 3 weeks back I did a video on black water, what I call black water, which is also called cutting the ties that bind ritual. And in that ritual you work with the angelic name Agala'a. And so I wanted to do a follow-up video to that just to give some background about Agala'a itself. Now, Agala'a is one permutation of the angelic name. There's many permutations of the name. Agala, Agala, Agila, Agil, Agula, Agula, or just goes on and on. There's I don't know. I'm actually not sure how many permutations there are, but there's a lot. Now, Agala'a has been associated with Malkut on the Tree of Life, but it's also been claimed that it's actually part of Gevura, which is might, severity. And it has a very strong connection with the fire element, so this actually makes sense in terms of it being associated with Gevura. And the name itself is actually an acronym. By the way, if you want to actually learn more about Agala'a and many other sacred names, then this is Jacobus's other book, the Book of Sacred Names, Jacobus G. Swat. And this is the second book. Yes, volume 2, the second book in his series. The one that had the ritual that I spoke about in the previous video was the fourth book, the Book of Immediate Magic, part 1. So I'm just going to go through the chapter on Agala'a just to make sure I've got everything right here. So the name Agala'a is an acronym. It's constructed from the phrase from the Amidah prayer, which reads Ata Gibor Lo'olam Adonai, which translates to "You are mighty throughout eternity, Adonai." Sorry about the noise next door. I've got a lot of people doing stuff in there, so you just have to put up with it today. Now, the name Agala is mostly used for protection. It's used in protection amulets, cameos, things like that. And there's a variety of different ways you can actually use it in connection with the protection amulets. A couple of interesting ones, but although they're interesting, I'm pretty sure they're a bit difficult to actually do, especially in the moment. So the first one is if you find yourself at sea and you're in a violent storm, you write the name on a reed and you throw it into the sea and the storm will stop. But unless you carry reeds on your person all the time, you might find it a bit difficult to find one in that situation. Another one, this one's a bit more technical. It's also for calming an angry sea. Involves keeping a piece of afikomen, that is to save a fragment of the portion of unleavened bread, which is set aside to be consumed as a dessert during the Passover dinner. So this afikomen is, you're supposed to divide it into 4 pieces, throw it to the 4 directions into the sea, and as you do, then you utter the name, the name Agula'o. So in this case, it's not Agala'a, it's Agula'o. It's just one of the permutations. Now, along with this association to the element of fire, there's actually a method to gain power over fire and to actually stop a fire. Now, the actual method of doing this, so I've got to read this just to make sure it's right, because it's actually quite a funny one if you ask me. So this is to actually control and stop a fire that's burning, like, say your kitchen's burning down or something. Your house is burning down. So you are instructed to offer semolina flour to a prepubescent Jewish girl. From this flour, she is to prepare a flat cake, on which you are to write the name Agala'a. The entire mix is semi-baked. Whilst the cake is still fairly raw, you have to take a long, rough, unworked wooden stick, thrust it in the centre of the cake, then the whole lot is held aloft whilst you say aloud the following phrase from Esther verse 7 line 8 three times. So you say the line three times, and then it's said that the fire will go out. But now, Jacobus also says in the book here, I'm inclined to agree that the fire would indeed have gone out by the time one has completed the task of acquiring the semolina flour, finding a prepubescent virgin, getting her to prepare the cake mix, writing the divine name on it, semi-bake it, finding a rough wooden stick, shoving it into the cake, and saying the associated biblical phrase three times. In fact, the entire house might have burnt down by then. These old methods of magic can get quite funny sometimes, I've got to say. But I think one of the main or the most interesting part about the name Agala'a, or Agala itself actually, is if you've probably come across it before, in the Lesser Banishing Ritual, the Pentagram and Golden Dawn associations, we come across the name Agla. And this was actually an association of, it's actually a Christian association, but this absorption into Christianity apparently had no knowledge of its Kabbalistic derivations. And the name itself was usually placed on a cross-shaped glyph, and I'll try and put an image over here. But now if you look at this glyph, you probably see an association with Nordic runes also, especially Binderunum. So how this all came to be, I'm not quite sure. But it's just interesting how it got absorbed into Christianity, and then from there it moved into, well, I suppose the most common association would be, common modern association would be with the Golden Dawn and the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, where you do actually intone the angelic name Agla. And this association with Agla in the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, because it's usually intoned in the north, which is quite an interesting association, especially if you refer it back to the Tree of Life and Gevura, because Gevura, which is the Sephira for might and severity, is actually positioned in the north, or traditionally associated with the north. So the name itself has quite an extensive background, moving from Kabbalistic associations and the use with amulets, through to its absorption into Christianity, and then moving across to the Golden Dawn. And I know I used to, when I first came across Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, and I used to perform it, I used to use Agla, but I never knew the association with Agala'a and its other permutations. So Agala'a, as I say, is a very fiery element, or association with fire, and the Sephira of Gevura, which is might and strength and severity, and therefore it is used mostly from a protective point of view, which is why it's associated and so important in the actual ritual for the black water, or cutting the ties that bind ritual, because that is used to actually remove the evil eye, and used to actually strip all negativity away from ourselves. So it is a very protective aspect. But as I say, I made that video, and then I thought I'd better do a follow-up, just with a bit of bit more background about the use of Agala'a. And so that's it for today. I'm going to get back to sigil magic on Friday. There's a couple more videos that I still need to do on that topic before moving on to a different topic. If you've got any suggestions about what topics you'd love me to cover, then please let me know in comments in any of the videos, and I'll make sure that I actually put them on the schedule. And I'll see you on Friday then. Cheers.